The battle had been fierce. The sound of explosions reverberated through the barren landscape of the distant planet, each blast marking another life lost. Gunfire echoed as soldiers clashed, their cries drowned by the deafening noise of warfare. On the front lines, the elite human soldier Alex Carter found himself surrounded, his comrades falling one by one, and his own body battered and bruised from the relentless assault. His mission had seemed simple enough: eliminate the hostile forces on this far-flung world, but things had gone terribly wrong. Alex had been separated from the main group, caught behind enemy lines, and outnumbered. His energy cells were low, his armor breached in several places, and his combat rifle useless. The last thing he remembered before losing consciousness was the sound of a shrieking alien warrior charging at him. And then, nothing but the cold embrace of darkness. When Alex regained consciousness, he was no longer on the battlefield. The pain in his body had been replaced by an overwhelming sense of confusion, his surroundings unfamiliar. He was lying on a bed made of some kind of woven material, the warmth of a fire flickering nearby. For a moment, he wondered if he had died and ended up in some kind of afterlife. But when his vision cleared, he saw her, the towering figure of an alien female, her eyes filled with compassion and concern. She was unlike any alien he had ever seen. Standing at nearly 12 feet tall, her body was sculpted with a muscular build that spoke of immense strength and battle readiness. Her skin shimmered with a bluish hue, and her long, flowing hair cascaded down her back like strands of silver silk. Her armor, forged from materials far more advanced than anything Alex had ever encountered, was intricately designed to accentuate her powerful form. But it was the tenderness in her gaze that struck him most. "You're awake," she said, her voice deep and resonant, yet soft and comforting. "I've been tending to your wounds. You're lucky to be alive." Alex tried to speak, but his throat was dry, his voice barely a whisper. Who are you?" The alien woman smiled slightly, her large eyes softening. "I am Ceres, warrior of the Xylan tribe. You were severely wounded, but I could not leave you to die alone. The others, they would have left you, but I am not like them." Alex tried to sit up, but the pain in his side stopped him. "I need to get back to my team. They'll be looking for me." Ceres placed a firm but gentle hand on his chest, urging him to lie back down. "You need to rest. Your body is not yet ready for the journey. I will help you recover, human." Alex's mind raced. He had been trained to fight and survive in the harshest of conditions, but he had never been in a situation like this before, relying on the care of an alien, especially one who was from the very species he had been sent to fight. But something about Ceres felt different. Her presence was commanding yet calming, and the way she spoke to him, tending to his injuries with meticulous care, made him feel more at ease than he ever thought possible. Days passed as Alex's wounds healed under Ceres's watchful eye. She tended to him with a gentle hand, cleaning his wounds, feeding him, and keeping him hydrated. The harshness of the world outside was far from their minds as they settled into a rhythm of care and recovery. She told him of her people, of the Xylan tribe, fierce warriors who lived by honor and strength, but also by compassion for those they deemed worthy. Her tribe was small but strong, and though their lives were filled with battles, there was a quiet peace when they were among their own. Alex found himself fascinated by her, drawn to her strength, her beauty, and the kindness that radiated from her. Despite the obvious differences between their species, there was an undeniable connection between them. Ceres spoke little of herself, but Alex could sense that she was not the same as the others in her tribe. While they were focused solely on survival and battle, Ceres had a different perspective, one that seemed rooted in a quiet wisdom. Over time, Alex learned more about her culture and her people. The Xylan were a proud race, known throughout the galaxy for their fearsome warriors, their unmatched combat skills, and their unyielding sense of loyalty. But Saris was different. She had never embraced the brutal, warrior-like ways of her people. She had always believed that strength came not only from physical power, but from compassion, understanding, and connection. That was why she had taken Alex in when others would have left him to die. One night, as they sat together by the fire, Saris spoke of the past. Her voice, usually steady and calm, took on a tone of quiet sadness. I was once like the others, cold, detached, driven only by the will to survive. But when I saw you lying there in the dirt, so vulnerable, something in me changed. I realized that even the strongest warriors can be broken, and that sometimes it's the simple acts of kindness that keep us whole. Alex listened in silence, the weight of her words settling deep within him. "You didn't have to save me," he said softly. "I would have understood if you just left me there." Saris looked at him, her eyes glowing softly in the firelight. "I did it because I wanted to, because you deserve more than death, just as every living being does." And perhaps, she paused, her gaze softening as she looked away. "Perhaps I saw something in you that I could not ignore." Alex felt a warmth in his chest. He had been saved by this alien warrior, a being so different from himself, yet somehow so much like him. Both of them were soldiers, fighting for survival in a harsh universe, but there was more than just battle between them. There was something unspoken, a bond that grew stronger each day. The day came when Alex was well enough to leave. His wounds had healed, though the emotional scars of the battle still lingered. He knew he couldn't stay on this planet forever, and he had to return to his people. But part of him hesitated. Saris walked with him to the edge of the jungle, where his extraction point lay. The distance between them felt heavier than the miles that separated their worlds. They stood in silence for a moment, looking at each other. Alex opened his mouth to say something, but no words came. Saris spoke first, her voice low and full of meaning. "You may leave now, human, but know this. You have left an impression on me, something I cannot forget. I do not know what the future holds, but I will never forget you." Alex swallowed hard. "I won't forget you either, Saris. You saved me when no one else would. You showed me what true strength really is." She nodded, and for the briefest moment, they shared a look that spoke volumes, of mutual respect, of shared struggles, and of something deeper that neither of them fully understood. With a final glance, Alex turned and walked toward his ship. Saris watched him go, her heart heavy yet strangely full. She had done what she had to do, not because of duty, but because of something more. And as she watched the human soldier disappear into the horizon, she realized that sometimes the strongest warriors weren't the ones who wielded the biggest weapons, but the ones who knew when to show kindness and compassion.